I hope you're doing well and welcome to today's edition of the London Session Open. It's June 6, 2018, and my name is Alejandro Zambrano, Chief Market Analyst with TradeCaptain.com. Good, so I can see that we are up and running. So, guys, thanks so much for joining me. We're gonna take a look at the markets as we usually do at this time of the day, and as well, sorry for keeping you guys waiting. We usually start at 9 a.m., but today running a bit late. So today we're going to talk about the markets. We have a break in the euro. The euro is most likely now short-term bullish, and we're also going to take a look at the pound, which is doing quite well as well. Um, Pound dollar itself trying to bottom out, as you can see here, and we're going to look at that in a minute. We also, of course, going to take a look at Bitcoin, crude oil, gold, and then we're going to take a look at the DAX. Before we start though, I need to stress that trading financial markets unfortunately is risky and there's a genuine risk that we'll lose all of our invested money. And as well, if you like this webinar, then why not say hello in the chat here, and why not just smash that like button. So if you like the presentation, click on this like button here to support this daily webinar. As well, we're going to talk about a new exciting project coming up, and it's actually already live, and it's called the Delta Trader Program, and it's at success here. 514 Capital Partners and Amana Capital. They're looking for money managers, and this is an opportunity if you trade well to potentially manage an account with 100,000. And you trade that account, then every quarter, if you made a return on that quarter, you will keep 20% of your profits. So, as an example, imagine you trade with your account and you have 10,000, and then you do 20% that quarter. Then you would make $2,000 profit, right? But here you're doing the same, but you're trading with a bigger account, so you would make 20,000 for trading the same strategy technically, and 20% out of 20,000, that's 4,000. So you in essence double your income that month. You would make 2,000 on your normal account, and then you would make another 4,000 with by managing this money. And there's more info on this if you click on go to Amana Capital and you click on Delta Trader, and you can read more about this. And this is something we want to talk about later on in this presentation. Okay, so this is the euro, and the euro has now turned bullish. There's not too much we can do about it. This is the first time I am bullish since the market traded below 120. Sorry, since the market, pretty much since the market traded below 21.55. This market has been in a downtrend. The market declined a total of 640 pip, and here the last idea I had for you was to sell up here. So we in essence give up 130 pip here at the end if one would have shorted here. So 640 minus 130, so total profit, depending on how you traded this, of course, if you were in and out, then it's a little bit of a different matter, but a total profit of about 510 pip in this market. If you would have shorted here when we said to short, and if you would have been selling here as well, being stopped out here. Of course, if you managed it differently, it could have been less, it could have been more. Now going forward, I think this trend now has bottomed out, and it's not just this market that has bottomed out. The Aussie dollar bottomed out in the past. I provided you guys with an update yesterday on that. An amazing entry, literally on the dot, literally less than a pip overshoot in the Aussie. And the New Zealand dollar as well. I did a post in the technical analysis session last week as well, talking about the New Zealand dollar most likely turning bullish now, heading to the upside. So you have the Aussie dollar bullish, New Zealand dollar bullish, and then you have now the euro dollar bullish. And let's just take a look at the pound. Well, the pound appears this trend defining level, so maybe that's the beginning as well of sort of weakness. Now in general, let me just show you the dollar index. This is the dollar index, and this is the daily chart. So the dollar, of course, had an amazing rally from the April low all the way up here to the high in May. And eventually we need to have a bit of a break, right? It's not going to continue to move forever to the upside. So simple fib from this low to this high gives you these three fibs. And what is interesting is that this is a low sell-off, known from payroll, and then stabilization, and then now tried to move to the upside but failed, and now pushing to the downside. So I'm gonna be bearish now for the next few days, and we'll see how far that goes. It's a corrective move, which is much more difficult than trading with the trend. And here's the euro, and I think we can probably target the May 22nd high and May 14th high, and then we'll see what happens. You know, this looks to me like a big head, and this is the left shoulder, and this will be potentially the right shoulder we're trying to build here. And if that's the case, then we're probably just going to go up, and then probably going to go down, and then when we take out this low, this market, you know, would tumble with another 1,000 pip, which just takes it down here to 106. So that is really interesting. But for now, we're just dealing with the right shoulder here, most likely in the euro versus the USD. So how can we trade this? Well, I think it's possible to just buy where we are right now. Again, you're trading with the trend, so it's not sort of a super good opportunity, but I think most likely, as long as you trade above this low, which is now the what is this? Is the May low. As long as you trade above that level, I think the market will most likely be bullish. And if you are scalping, then you don't necessarily have to work with this level down here. I think it's fine to work with this level here, which is the June 1st low. So I think if we trade here, we're looking at a potential reward, sorry, risk of about 136 pip. Move up to the high, then we can potentially make 85, and then if we go up to 14, we can make up to potentially 242. But it's not going to be easy. Take a look here. This is the Aussie, and the Aussie moved, ended its downtrend here, rallied, and then tumbled to the downside. So if we would have worked with those sort of tight stop loss orders, we would have been stopped out. In fact, I was stopped out, and then it takes some time for sort of the market to work out if it should be bullish or bearish, but then eventually when it worked out fine, it goes well. So I think in general, over the next few days, I'm going to be bullish above this level. This is going to be my trend defining, and this is the May low. And short-term traders could probably just focus on the June 1st low if you want to looking for a more stable entry, or stable, sort of better risk reward stable entry in general. Then you're looking at this whole area, then you're just looking for a pullback like that. Okay, but I think if you're scalping, I think this is going to go up now because traders have been short. Now they are getting squeezed out of their positions, as well as in the beginning. It's the early morning, and it's 9:33. So usually, you know, when you take out a level like that, the market just continues to rally. Now we're gonna continue with Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin, as you know, I've been bearish for quite some time, but this weekend, if you follow me on Twitter at AlexFX00, then you know I turned bullish. The market took out my trend defining level, so up, and then it moved down to test this level, and so far it's looking good. Yesterday's price action was good in a way that we moved down. We tested this weekend trading session, and the market moved to the upside, and I think this market could potentially head up to the May 20th high, and I'll be bullish as long as trade above 7,041, and most likely if we take out this week's high, or the high here from the, is it Monday? No, the Sunday high. If we take out the Sunday high, I think this market is going to head to the upside, and at that point as well, I think we could potentially just reduce the stop loss to 72.81, and by doing so, we would in essence just be risking like 4%, and potentially if the market goes up, we'll make about 13, and then we'll see what happens. If you are interested, I did share in the technical analysis section, I did share what do you call it, a Ripple update not so long time ago that you would probably like to check out. Next market is crude oil. Crude oil, we had some good success here as well. A few days ago we said look to sell 68.58 and the market moved down to our first target, then it extended. I still think this market has more to go, and this is my last sort of update, and the idea was to sell pretty much here, and we touched that first fib. How did I get that fib? I took a Fibonacci from this high to this low, and the idea was just to sell here. Now we need to be a bit careful because the overall trend is bullish, so this could just be like a B, and C sort of correction, and now it stabilizes. But I think in general this will continue to drift to the downside. Why? Well, because Saudi and Russians energy ministers said they might look to expand crude oil production because crude oil at these levels is not sustainable for countries like China and countries like India, and just general world. It's not good if crude oil prices are too high, and I think they're trying to sort of produce more now because they decided to cut production, and that boosted prices, and now they're trying to again expand production to sort of limit price gains, because they understand that if crude oil prices are very high, then yes, maybe they'll make more money in the short term, but in the long run, if we have a recession, things get really problematic. And in the past, people have fought and had wars about resources, so there's a delicate balance there, politics, and that could easily turn into something nasty. Not that I think that anything of that is going to happen, but it makes perfect sense that they want to expand crude oil production. Another thing, as well, all hedge funds are long, and I think they're under pressure now to book profits. This market had a crazy rally, if you think about it. Last year, around this time of the year, we were trading down here, and the market moved up with about 70%, and that's a very good bull market. And now this market is stabilizing, and I think this can continue to move a little bit lower, so no change to the outlook. If it goes down, takes out the low, I'll reduce my trend defining level even further. I think we can put it probably just above today's high. Here's gold, and gold is very lackluster. There's not much happening here, and there's not too much we can do about it. The trend is still capped by 1308. The market moved to our advantage again. The idea has been to sell here for more than a month, or more than a month, and we're in a bit of a profit. We reduced the stop loss significantly, and this market can still move to the downside, but it's a bit difficult for the market to sort of know what it wants to do right now. But I remain bearish below this high, and I see no reason to change their bias. Here is the German DAX. German DAX is going to take you for a ride. This is now where you want to be focusing your attention at. Looking at the daily, the market might make sense to buy down here. So around 12,000. At the same time, around these highs, some traders might look to sell. But this is now where you want to have your focus. In this section here, I did share a setup for all you stock market traders, and it was about the S&P 500. See if I can find that. I think is like this. Up. I don't remember the actual code that I used for this. That's not gonna work because I just did that. Technical analysis and then you search. We produce quite a lot of content, which just reminds me that I need to work on how you guys can find information. So this is the S&P 500 on June 4th, so 2 days ago. I said take out 2742, and this market could head to the upside. This was the trend defining level at the time. Let me show you the S&P today. Well, look at this. It's up a little bit, and I think this continued to move to the upside. We did talk about the Nasdaq 100 in the past as well. You can see very strong bullish breakouts here. So you probably want to focus on US stock markets instead of focusing too much on the DAX. And for more on this, you follow me on Twitter, AlexFX00. I publish content here. You will find all my analysis here as well. Okay, good. So let's see. We don't have any questions on today's comments, on today's update. If you like it, again, don't forget to hit that like button. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Delta Trader program. So the Delta Trader program, you find that here. You go to Amana Capital. Why do I even show you this? Well, because Amana Capital is the parent of Trade Captain, and that's why I'm mentioning this. So what's the Delta Trader program? Well, the Delta Trader program is very straightforward. Traders that are good get rewarded, and they have a pot of $1 million for each quarter. And any traders that meet the targets that they have set and will be allocated this money, and meet the targets and are part of the top 10. So for example, if we have 20 people that meet the target, then it's just the top 10 that get $100,000 each. Now, who did they get the money from? Well, they get the money from a company called 514 Capital Partners, and that is a hedge fund based in the Cayman, and they've been in business, I think, since 2013, I think. And in essence, they get the money from there. You don't obviously get the money to your account, but the way it works is that an account with Amana Capital is set up, and then you have access to that account. Now, the big benefit here is that if you're trading with smaller amounts of money, then this gives you the opportunity to trade with your own strategy without taking excessive risks. What does this mean? Well, most people, they start with accounts maybe 2,000, 3,000, maybe even 500. And then from these 500 or 1,000, they're trying to make a living or trying to make good gains. So for example, they put 1,000 in, and then they want to double that money each month. Well, how likely is that? Well, Warren Buffett, he has an annual percentage return of, I think, the share of his company has an annual return, I think, is about 30% per year. So if the world's probably one of the world's richest men, he does 32% per year. How likely is it that your average retail trader is going to be able to make 100% per month? Very unlikely, of course. Again, it's not just him. If you look at George Soros, Stanley Druckenmiller, all these big guys, Ray Dalio, all of these big guys, why are they billionaires? They trade with strategies, and they trade with huge amount of money. Why? And how is this interesting? Well, because if you have a strategy that is good, and you make 5% a month or even 2% a month, and you don't take too much risk on that, then people will allocate money to that. That's what the big guys with money, they're not hungry that they need to double their money. It's usually people with no money that are very hungry, and then when you're really, really hungry, you really want something, you will most likely, and you push it too hard, especially in finance, then you're gonna fail. In other parts of the world, like working very hard and things like that, you work really hard and you get usually paid. In finance, it doesn't really work like that. If you take your money and you sort of squeeze it and maximize it with leverage, then most likely you're gonna fail. So this is that great opportunity, because imagine that you have 100,000 and you do, as I said in the beginning of the presentation, you do say 20% on that account in the first quarter. Well, you will keep 20% of any gains. So you made 20,000 on that account, and you keep 20% of any gains. So you'll keep, in essence, 4,000. 4,000 is great for some people. And the cool thing here is that if you do very good, of course they keep an eye on you, and there's nothing here that says they can't reward you with more than just 100,000. So it's a good opportunity if you're trading with a smaller account and you've been struggling because in essence you were trading a bigger account, and then in essence you work directly with a hedge fund and they came in, and that itself opens up to more opportunities. Now, what's the catch? Are they gonna be handing out money? No. Do you need to trade aggressively? No. So the thing is here, they're gonna look at what we call a profit factor. A profit factor is the sum of all of your profits divided by the sum of all of your losses, and from there we create a ratio. So say for example, let's just bring a calculator. Say for example you make 100,000 in net profit or in profit, and to make this you had losing trades amounting say 50,000. Then 100,000 divided by 50 gives you a ratio of 2, and it's this ratio that they're looking at. They want people that have a ratio higher than 1.5. And you know what this is interesting is this, because you can have your account, maybe it's at 2,500, and then you know you lost maybe 1,000, and you get a ratio of 2.5. Now that is better than the guy that made 100,000 and lost 50,000 in the process, because we're looking at a ratio. So it's not about who can produce the highest return in the shortest amount of time, like a normal contest with a broker would be. Here is all about how much money did you make and what risks did you take to make that money. So similar stuff than you would see at hedge funds. And as the other part of here is that you don't get rewarded more if you have a huge account. So you can trade with your $50,000 account or a $1 million account. You will at the end of the day be treated the same as someone with a smaller account. Another thing they're gonna watch as well is your average profit versus your average win versus your average loss. So it's a lot about the risk-reward ratios that we talk about here every day. If you're a trader that makes pips, every winning trade on average 100 pips, but every time you lose 500, then you're gonna get a ratio lower than 1, and that is not what they're looking for. Again, if you trade well and skillful, they reward that. They don't reward taking on reckless amount of risks. The other thing as well is that they're looking at the percentage winning ratio. So if one is right, so if you trade 100 times, at least 45 of your trades needs to be winners and 65 can be losers. Obviously you need to be better at or better than 45. So those are the three factors that they look at, and then they do the evaluation every quarter. The first evaluation period just started, and the first evaluation is going to take place on the 31st of August. Now another thing is that you would need to have traded at least 100 times. Why 100 times? Well, because if you trade 2-3 times you get amazing results, then it's going to look good on paper, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's something stable. So they want you to trade at least 100 times. Now you don't have to trade sizes of a specific kind, so it's not that you have to trade big lot sizes that's gonna again blow up your account. You can trade micro lots as long as you trade 100 times, and you have time on your side. So the evaluation happens every quarter, so you could technically, if you have an EA or you trade actively, you could potentially have traded 100 times by the 31st of August. However, though, if you don't make 100 trades by the 31st of August, then things just gets pushed back until with another 3 months. So maybe in 6 months from now, you would have traded maybe 120 times, and then they're going to look at all your trades from when the time you joined the competition or the contest up until that evaluation date. Now, what do you need to do then? Well, these are the conditions, and the only catch here is that you can't, of course, start trade with your current broker. Rather, you would need to open an account with Amana Capital, and with Amana Capital, you can trade pretty much what you can trade with your average broker, if not a little bit more. You have cryptos, you have forex, you have crude oil, you have, I think, even natural gas, you have the S&P, you have the DAX, you have the Swiss stock market. So if you make your money trading cryptos, or make your money trading forex, or trade money making stock market, it doesn't really matter. You can trade anything that Amana Capital offers. And Amana Capital, they're regulated in England. Most of our clients have their account here in England, so there's no difference in security. For example, if you trade with Amana Capital, or if you trade with one of the big guys here in London. They do also have regulated in Cyprus as well. So security-wise, it's the same thing. And I'm from XFXCM, as you know, and the CEO here as well at London is XFXCM, and the sales manager as well is XFXCM. So we're bringing the skills that we cultivated at one of the world's biggest broker, but bringing it in a nicer and smarter and more agile package here at amanacapital.com. So if you want to know more about this, just hit Amana Capital and click on Delta Trader for more on that. It's very straightforward. You log in, and something I did not show you, I didn't show you the dashboard. So let me see you here, if I can send you that. So there's a dashboard when you log in, and of course if you don't actually you can trade whatever. If you don't really bother to be part of the competition, that's fine as well. It doesn't actually matter. But everybody that's on the contest will have access to a dashboard, and the dashboard looks like this. This is just a sample, so anybody that is in gets to see these ratios. So this is just a print screen I have. This is the round until the next evaluation period ends, and this is the profit factor. So every hour they take a look at your close positions and your open positions since you joined the competition, and they calculate these factors. So for example, this specific trader, some of his profits are $2,466. Some of his losses is $8,024, and this is the ratio, and you can see here that he needs to be at least 1.5, so he did not meet that target. This is the percentage winning trades. This trader is right 92% of the time. He just needs to be better than 45, so he met this target. You can see he has 361 winning trades and 28 losing trades, so he has a very high percentage winning ratio. Now here's the other thing, which is the average win to average loss, which I mentioned. So his average winning position is $6.83, but when he loses big. He loses 286. And this is the typical trader, guys. This is the typical trader. You can't find a more typical trader like this. A guy that can't admit when he's wrong, and when he's wrong, he loses he loses everything. This is not the way to trade, but this is the way most people trade. What happens is that when you log in, you'll see your numbers here, and they're based on the time when you signed up and started trading. Then everything calculates, and it looks like this, and there's more content where we explain exactly what these different metrics are. So this is a dashboard that everybody gets when they log in, and all of this is free. The only thing you need to do is trade with Amana. Okay, so we don't have any questions, so we're gonna wrap things up. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I want to thank you so much as well, you guys that stayed along wanted to learn a bit more about Trade Captain and the Delta Trader. Don't forget to check out the technical analysis section. I'm going to upload some stuff here this afternoon. I did upload some stuff already yesterday. I upload a few things every day, so don't forget to check out that section as well. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at AlexFX00. As well, I did upload my analysis here, or the way I produce results over the last, since 2014. You can read more about that as well. Okay, guys, have a great day. And if you have any questions, just send me a message via Twitter here, or you can just reach out to me at asambrano@tradecaptain.com. Have a great day, guys, and thanks so much for watching.